This podcast is brought to you by Vizard.ai and by the Spur of the Moment podcast. And also, please vote for our friend Shawin from the Goosebumps Crew podcast for the 2025 Face of Halloween contest. The link is in the description, and your vote is appreciated.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to to this week's episode of the Party Broadway World podcast. Today, we have Katharine Quinn with us, and as I am learning, you were the producer of The Great Gatsby musical.
I was not.
Okay.
I do social media marketing for The Great Gatsby.
Social media marketing. Yeah, that's what I mean. It also said that you also do it for maybe Happy Ending. Am I correct?
Yes, I do social media for The Great Gatsby, Maybe Happy Ending, The Notebook Tour, a bunch of shows across the country, and stuff in development.
I guess my first question is, you've been part of. See, I'm not sure because when I Googled questions to ask, it also said that you also did Shucked. You did.
I was a writing associate on Shucked.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was.
Okay. So then how about you tell us about how, what all that was like to be a writing associate for Shucked and then also doing the social media side for all those other shows.
Yeah. Shucked was super fun. Robert Horn is the book writer of Shucked. He's a Tony Award winning, fabulous, wonderful, very, very, very funny writer. And assisting him was wild and wonderful and hilarious. And during Shucked, I was doing a lot of my own social media content, and it was bringing some people to come see the show. And people would come up during previews and say, "Oh my gosh, hi, I'm at the show because you've talked about it on your YouTube channel, or you've talked about it on your Instagram or your TikTok." And the creative team was like, "Well, this feels odd and strange and different." And our music supervisor, Jason Howland, took me to lunch the following summer and said, "Hey, I've written an adaptation of The Great Gatsby, and I would love for you to market it, do what you did on Shucked." And I didn't have any traditional marketing experience, but he gave me a really cool opportunity. And I got to do social media for the show when it was at Paper Mill out of town. Then it transferred to Broadway, and I stayed on with the show. And that was I guess our lunch was 2 years ago. And so the last 2 years have just been like a crazy adventure ever since.
And so, getting to that, what was the moment you realized that you wanted to market for Broadway rather than only work behind the scenes and all that?
I mean, marketing still feels like it's behind the scenes, just in a different way. And when did I realize I wanted to market? To be totally honest, I'm still in the process of learning what part of the business exactly, not that I want to be in, but that maybe where I want to land eventually. Marketing was never part of the plan. Like I said, Jason gave me this amazing opportunity, and I'm having a ball. And my background is as a director and choreographer, and it feels like I'm getting to do that just in a different way, like digitally, I suppose. So I don't know that there was a moment where I decided that I wanted to pursue it. It's sort of the opportunity came to me, and I would have been really stupid to say no.
And then I also wanted to switch sides a little bit because you have because of your company and at Showbiz has completely redefined how Broadway shows use social media, how it defines how Broadway uses social media. How did that start?
Oh gosh. Um, that's super generous. I I think that we inherently have a different approach because I don't have a traditional marketing background because I was just a fan. And then, I was a performer for a little while, then a director choreographer. And so my approach isn't really like traditional advertising or traditional marketing. It's more as a creator and more as a fan. So our whole thing is digital first, fan forward content. And the people on my team are young. We have a lot of performers, people who've been on Broadway before as performers, and it just feels like a maybe more artist driven approach, maybe more fan driven approach than is traditional. But I also think traditional Broadway marketing is changing a lot right now in a very exciting way.
What's so then like for like for most people, like what's something most people don't realize about social media marketing for Broadway shows?
Hmm. Uh, we're human beings behind computers, and all of those comments do go somewhere. And um, yeah, we want to represent the art that's on stage. We want to represent the incredible company members who are on and off stage. And I think social media is an interesting thing for so many reasons. First of all, it's the front lines. It's, people have no idea who does paid digital advertising for any of the shows that I work on. People have no idea who does the overall advertising, but people do know, they see our social media and they can interact with us directly in a way that you don't interact with advertising, in a way that you don't interact with paid ad departments on a show. And because almost everyone is on social media, people have something to say about how it's done. And that can be from fans, from actors, from whomever, because it feels accessible in a way that most other parts of marketing don't. And I think we field several extra layers of politics and several extra layers of interactions as a result, which can be a gift and a challenge.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
It could be tricky.
It could be very tricky. And then before my other next question, I wanted to ask too, because I noticed, because I have sub to your YouTube hit channel. I see you do all those videos. For our viewers, can you please describe of like what kind of content you do on YouTube?
Yeah, I started vlogging during Shucked. And the reason I did that is because I knew I was very much in an assistant capacity, and I was going to have very, very long days doing coffee runs, but also some work on the script, but also, I don't know, it's being a PA on a Broadway show is a great thing and also a very challenging thing. And I wanted to remain the leading lady of my life in certain ways, and creating a vlog was the way to do that. Plus, it was the beginning kind of my Broadway journey, and I'm really glad that I have vlogs chronicling the last couple of years, just because it's been such a crazy ride. And then in the midst of that, people were like, hey, what Broadway show should I see this fall? Hey, where do I buy tickets? Hey, what do I need to wear to a Broadway show? And I was like, well, I know the answers to those questions. I can make videos and just offer that information. And so I have two different YouTube channels. One is for our company, and that's Showbiz, and that's more Broadway interviews and talk shows and game shows and fun Broadway content. And then on my channel, it's my face, talking about, my life and what it's like running an agency on Broadway. And then also answering like commonly asked questions and offering education and information about Broadway.
Yeah, I like if someone asked me that, like I know the answers to that too, because I used to be an usher for 3 years.
Oh, nice! I love that. In
Yeah,
Michigan?
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Where?
At Miller Auditorium in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Oh, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, I started like right after theater opened back up after COVID.
Wow.
And then
Crazy.
I did for a couple of years, and then this past season was like my last season because it just got hard on my
Yeah.
body and just oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, that's totally fair. What made you start doing content? Like what made you want to start a podcast?
Um, funny thing is, my like I came across a fellow TikToker um who had his own podcast, and
Hmm.
I just had commented on one of the TikTok videos of like Titanic because I love Titanic, and and then he just like reached out to me like a day later, and it's like, hey, I noticed that you liked it and commented on my Titanic videos. And I looked at your stuff, and I think you got something here. Like I wonder, like, would you have you ever considered on, doing a podcast? And I was like, yeah, but I don't know how. And the rest is history. I've been doing this for 2 years now.
Wow, good for you. That's awesome.
Yep. We celebrated my 2 years like a couple of weeks ago on like
Congratulations.
thank you on July 23rd. Yeah, on July 23rd.
Oh, that's amazing. I feel like there's two hurdles with creation. One is the like first step of like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn how to do the thing. I'm going to get it up and going. But the much harder part is continuing to do the thing. So the fact that you've done it for 2 years is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, there have been days where I'm like, I don't want to do this right now.
I bet. I understand.
I am tired.
Yep. I definitely get it.
Sorry, Jake, my editor and my boss that actually did this. But it's true.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh my gosh.
Stop wasting your time on manually editing your videos. The secret AI tool will do the work for you. One of the best things about it is that it gives your video the potential to go viral. Visit this page, sign in, create a project by clicking on this button. Choose a video that you want to use. Click on the AI clip button. Wait for the magic. It is scanning through the video and looking for the parts that has the potential to go viral. Instead of editing the video by yourself, it does the work for you. It even generates headline and captions which fit your video. Another surprise is that they generate video description or social post for you to use. Once done, click Export to post.
So with what you said, do you approach fan engagement differently depending on the type of show? For example, something nostalgic like Gatsby versus something like maybe Happy Ending.
Yes, absolutely. Gatsby is trend forward and a little more, maybe, I don't know if it's more star driven or not. It's glitzy, it's glamour, it's a big Broadway show, it's like, it's a title that regardless of the musical, everyone knows. It fits into the zeitgeist. And it just feels hyper accessible and it wants to be trendy. And our show mixes like traditional choreography and contemporary choreography and more of a traditional sound and then a contemporary sound. And so it feels like it can live in the world of pop culture. And so TikTok has been a pretty incredible place for Gatsby and like the trends of Gatsby with New Money and Today's the Day and all of its various moments. Maybe Happy Ending has been much more of a Reddit show. So subreddits been kind of where that fandom has lived, and it's such a magical, beautiful place. And the fandom is the best. And yeah, so it's been, the philosophy has been, in terms of cultivating those two fandoms, it's been actually really, really different, which has been super fun for us.
Except for probably right now with everything that's going on with maybe happy ending and the controversy and the people being mad at some stuff.
It is a challenging time to be a social media manager for sure.
With the changes that maybe happy ending did that people are mad at.
Listen, yeah, we read every single comment. We listen to, and part of our job is communicating what social sentiment is to the broader team. Because some of those people don't live on social media. Oh, my dog has feelings. And so listening to the fans and listening to those comments, it's part of the job. And sometimes there are harder weeks, and sometimes there are weeks where, things fly by, and yeah, it's our job to liaise between the fans and the production.
I wonder too, like, how do like you, for example, like, how do you deal with like those like not so nice comments and everything?
Yeah, I think we want to make sure that we don't censor conversation. That's not our job. If it's not harmful and if it's discussion, if it's part of a conversation, we're not here to hide or delete or remove those comments. Part of our job is comment moderation, but the only reason that, we were really, really specific, especially over the last couple of weeks, about how we wanted to handle the conversation. And by handle, I just mean how much we're observing and allowing the conversation. Like, our job is not to stop conversation. So basically, the guidelines that we abided by are if it's conversation happens. If there's a threat to a specific person or outright harassment, I think that we've deleted maybe 2 comments in the last 2 weeks, which is saying something, because if you have paid attention to the posts, there have been a tremendous number of comments. So it is like 0.0000000000001% of the comments that have actually been moderated. Now, internally, it's also about like, I want to make sure I'm protecting my team too. And all I mean by that is combing through those comments for hours and hours can be a lot. And so it's just making sure that, making sure with my team that, like, if you need a moment and you need to pivot to a different task, hand it off to me, hand it off to a different team member, Yeah.
So then you launched your full content network with an episode series starring Broadway stars. I feel like that's very groundbreaking. What made you want to take that leap?
I wanted to make the content that I wished I had when I was in high school or college, or even sometimes now. I just think that Broadway fans are generally underserved in terms of Broadway fans are some of the most passionate people on the planet. Speaking as a Broadway fan, and looking at someone who has playbills up on their wall behind them. Yep. You know what I mean? And it feels like there's a lot that we can tap into in terms of not just listening to fans, but also like offering them content wherever they are, because so many fans don't live in New York and can't necessarily see Broadway shows regularly, if ever. And I wanted to make sure that I brought really great Broadway content to people wherever they were. And so that's what I said. I'm like, I committed to myself that I was going to I said 35 episodes of Broadway content, and I was just going to fund it all and produce it all and direct it all and edit it all and secure the guests and the venues and all of it, and just do it for a season and see what I could do and see if people liked it. And they did, and it went well. And now we're planning season 2. And it's still like, it's so, building anything is so much work and so hard, and also really thrilling. And trying to do that while also running this agency is like definite juggling act. But yeah, I feel really, 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 really passionately about it. And I've wanted to build this content before I even wanted to start an agency. So I'm really excited about it.
And speaking of, though, I don't know if you noticed this. This is a poster
Are those
of
pins?
No, this is a poster of every single Broadway costume from the beginning.
Oh, wow. Like one
Yeah.
per show?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. From like the beginning.
Like Showboat?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Till like recent. Like early
That's
2000s.
incredible.
I think it stops at Wicked, but like mostly all of them are up here.
Oh, I love that.
So say I'm not a theater fan, you people are no, I'm just kidding. If someone says that I'm not a theater fan, look at that and look at
I mean,
things.
part of your Broadway world indicates to me Disney and Broadway, so I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah. I think so too. What role do you think the digital storytelling plays in helping fans feel more connected to Broadway today?
Do you mean, well, storytelling? Okay, what role does storytelling play in keeping Broadway fans connected to keeping Broadway fans connected to what? To Broadway?
To Broadway, yeah.
Is it storytelling and content? Storytelling?
Yeah. Digital storytelling. So yeah, content, yeah.
Vital. I mean, again, like I grew up in Dallas. I was so lucky. My mom did take me up to, my dad was in the Navy, and so he would come up for Fleet Week. And my mom brought me a couple of times to New York when I was younger. And I just did a survey. Well, just a survey. I did a survey earlier this year of Broadway fans on Reddit. And I got like 650 responses. And 88% of the people who responded don't live in New York. And more than half, it was like the vast majority, discovered their love of musical theater before the age of 16. I'm veering from your question about storytelling, but I just think that we have an obligation, like if that is the case, I don't know, did you find musical theater when you were a kid?
My very first musical theater piece was musical.
Amazing.
Since I was like 4. So
there you go. So I just think that we have an obligation to reach people where they are with musical theater. As far as storytelling goes, yeah, I mean, every single piece of content that we put out has to have its own little micro arc, and a macro arc that connects to the rest of the brand or the story. Like, we view our content as a digital extension of the universe of the show. So we're taking you behind the scenes. We're showing you the stage management booth. We're showing you the musicians and where they are in space. We're showing you choreography pre-pro. We're explaining what a swing is. Like, storytelling is the base of every tiny piece of content, and then also the arc of our work overall.
So today's episode is sponsored by the Spur of the Moment podcast, everybody. Come join us every Saturday, and we're going to do this. We're going to sit here. We're going to talk about the news. Time to talk about the Minecraft.
Okay.
It looks bad. We're going to talk about movies. That new Joker movie is apparently terrible, and I want to see it so badly because I hear it's awful. And we're going to make some jokes. We're going to have some laughs.
There's a lot of funny jokes in there. There's a lot of weird jokes in there. The Channing Tatum one will always make me laugh. Especially when you hear the behind the scenes stuff, like when you hear the behind the scenes story of how they just phoned them up.
We're occasionally going to have other people along for the ride.
A really fun fact, though, is I learned last year that that Coraline was Leica and not Disney.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I can see why you would make that mistake. Yeah. Because it does seem like it's a different. And to be fair,
that would be a horrifying, terrible Disney movie.
It would be because yeah. And we're just gonna have a generally good time. George, do you have anything else you want to say about our podcast? Make people watch it.
We watch movies. Sometimes we watch shows, but we always have fun.
Here
on the spur. 3, 2, 1. On the spur of the podcast moment.
Yeah, we nailed it. Nailed it. Podcast. Yeah. It's Spur of the Moment podcast every Saturday. We nailed it.
You can expect awesome content like that.
We cut flawless promos every single week.
And I also wanted to jump ahead a little bit, because I also did my research, and so this question involves inclusion and representation. So, as a queer, neurodivergent woman in a leadership role, how do you advocate for more inclusive and diverse voices in the Broadway space?
Yeah, I have a wonderfully diverse team that feels really, 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 really important to me as I'm building out a team. I am really grateful for that. I think it's a huge strength of And That's Showbiz, our team broadly.
Mm-hmm.
Different decisions are made when disabled people are in leadership. Different decisions are made when queer people are in leadership. Different decisions are made when people of color are in leadership. And there is not equity in any way for any of those things in almost any industry, and definitely not on Broadway. And I feel like it sounds twee to say the more diverse voices, the more, but it's true. It makes such a difference. And even if you're going to be what I call like an evil capitalist about it, which sometimes I can be an evil capitalist, because Broadway is commercial. Like, it is not a nonprofit. It is commercial theater. It still makes the product better. Like, if we're still thinking in capitalistic terms, not only is it the right thing to do, it also makes the stories better. It makes the art better. And people are going to respond more positively to that. So I feel really, really, really strongly about it. And like, the thing that fuels me right now is digital accessibility, because Broadway is so inaccessible in so many different ways. And that feels like sort of the like thesis statement for the work that we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. And that leads me to my next question is like, what does authentic representation mean to you, especially when it comes to behind the scenes teams like writers, choreographers, and marketers?
Can you either reword the question or further clarify what it is that you're asking?
I guess just like, or not. You know what? Yeah, I'll reword the question. I'll just ask like, what does representation mean to you in general in like storytelling and everything, like when it comes to all that?
It means, like, the first thing that came to my head was like, not tokenism, like to have one voice that is different is insufficient. Shows any business can have queer representation, but not like, I think I guess I'm talking about intersectionality. There has to be. Broadway prides itself on being inclusive. And if we're going to pride ourselves on being inclusive, that has to be inclusive in a very holistic sense. It can't just be like, okay, we have gender parity. No. Okay, we have queer people that are welcome in this space. Okay, great. Are people of color welcome in this space? And not just welcome in this space, in leadership positions and represented broadly. Ditto to disabled people. I guess that's me thinking out loud what it means to me. Does that feel fair?
Yeah, that feels so fair. Yeah. Coming from a fellow disabled person, like, I could not agree more.
Yeah.
I could not agree more. And especially, like, representation is completely needed in spaces. Broadway and all, I feel like.
Yeah. Can I ask what is your Broadway show going experience like?
It's pretty simple. Luckily my theater that I go to is handicap accessible, so there's no stairs or anything, so I can just wheel right in. So
Great.
So it's pretty simple.
Have you come to see shows in New York?
No, I've never been to New York at all.
My gosh.
I want to so bad.
Oh my gosh. The theaters are so horribly inaccessible. I mean, they're accessible like enough that there's like accessible seating, but on specific floors, but there aren't elevators in most of do you know what I mean? Like it's so limited what the options are, which I think is one of the benefits of the touring markets because in regional theaters, because usually the theaters are not as old as the Broadway houses that were built 100 years ago and are designated historic landmarks that, like, if you're gonna, all that stuff. So anyway, it's a conversation that we desperately need to dig into more on Broadway. That's for sure.
Yeah, because like I was always wondering that because I was like, I've always wanted to go to Broadway to go to New York and see Broadway shows, but how? Because
you could.
Buildings have been there for hundreds of years and way before the ADA got involved.
Yes, you could, but it's like they're like retrofitted to accommodate a certain number of accessible options. But obviously the buildings were not built with accessibility in mind, and it's just such a different situation, I hope you get to come see Broadway shows.
I know, I hope to. I gotta get through some health stuff and everything first, but once I'm healed from everything and all that stuff, I'm coming.
Yes.
So then I have a couple of fun questions. If you could revive or reimagine any Disney or Broadway show with a full digital marketing campaign, what would you pick and why?
That was so many questions in one. Because first, it's a question of what do I want to revive? And then secondly, how do I want to market that revival? That's a big question, Haley. That's a lot. What do you want to revive?
Jagged Little Pill.
Oh my God.
I need it back.
Hot take. That would be such a recent revival. But yes, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm like, what would I mean, obviously, like, concerts have to happen if there's a revival of that. I'm like, part of the marketing has to be like, I want there to be like Taylor Swift living room concerts that are like first invite only, and like content creators are in there and they're getting the content of like the company members doing like a booze surprise set, and like that's how like word starts to get out, and there's like a guerrilla marketing campaign. I don't know. That question is like, one of my favorite shows that desperately needs a rewritten book for so many reasons. It's tricky. Do you know MAME? There's goodness in MAME, but it also is steeped in like old Southern values. And I don't know if there's a way to fix it, but it's hilarious. And I don't know about the marketing of that. I'll say that the marketing I just offered for Jagged Little Pill is the marketing I would do. But yeah, MAME, if it could have a fully rewritten book, maybe.
As soon as you said old Southern values, I just got the ick.
Right. I think the love interest's name is Beauregard. Oh wait, is that is that Mame or Dolly? Beauregard, Pickett, Burnside. I think that's Mame. That's Mame. That's Mame. Van de Gelder is Dolly.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking, since we're on the subject, how are we going to do this? How are we going to campaign for Jagged to come back?
I'm gonna leave that to you. I think that is your calling, and I think you should make it happen because it's only been what, like 7 years or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it some more time.
But I want to see Lauren Patton as Joe again, or I don't know. I never got to see her as Joe.
Lauren sang the crap out of it.
She did. I've
Yeah,
seen
she was
videos,
amazing.
and I'm like, I must see her in something.
Yeah, her voice is insane.
Yeah. So, then second question. What's one campaign or moment in your career that felt like, yes, this is what I wanted. This is why I want to do what I do.
Honestly, seeing Maybe Happy Ending for the first time, which is crazy because I wasn't even working on it at that moment. I joined Maybe Happy Ending right after opening. And I saw the invited dress rehearsal and I was super burnt out at that particular moment and went in not knowing anything about the show. And by the end was just like broken open because it is my favorite musical of the last 5 years, tied with Great Gatsby, my other client, of course. And I just think it's such an exquisite show. And it did remind me, it literally, like, my thought coming out of it was like, this is why I love musical theater. Like seeing it felt like such a miracle because it was so unlikely to be on Broadway, and it was so unlikely to make it as far as it has. And yeah, so that was a nice moment. But honestly, anytime I'm in the room with like actors and writers and creators and I get to like film, I love video. I love storytelling through video, and I love showcasing artists. And that is when I feel like the most in it and alive and like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Furthering that, like, what advice would you give to someone who wants to work in theater marketing but doesn't know where to start?
Create your own content first. I think one of the reasons that our show's accounts perform well is because I made a brand out of me first, and I'm way less interesting than a Broadway show. And if I can cut my teeth and figure out how to like tell stories in video and bite-sized content for me, who is a boring person, compared to like the thrill of a Broadway show.
What Broadway show has the best social media game right now, besides your own?
I was like, well, The Great Gatsby and Maybe Happy Ending. I'm gonna say John Proctor is the villain. I think that Austin Spiro, who does the social media, and Carly Heitner, who does the influencer marketing, especially together, they've done such a phenomenal job of eventifying the show. And Austin did a great job of like finding the tone and like creative directing it.
Yeah, I had to quickly say, beside your own.
Thank you. And to do that on a play too is pretty amazing, I think. I think plays can be trickier because they're a little less straightforward, but Austin's made an art of it. Yeah.
Although I do love The Great Gatsby. I haven't seen it on Broadway yet, but like I've seen bootlegs or slime tutorials. Sorry, people.
I just have to plug my ears and pretend you didn't say that, and it's fine. For professional reasons. But I'm glad that you like it. I love it.
Hey, that's how I got to know Jagged Little Pill. I saw it was during COVID. I saw a slime tutorial.
That's a whole other conversation about accessibility.
we always ask this at the end of the podcast. We always end with this question: what's your favorite Disney or Broadway song and why?
I was unprepared. People ask my favorite show, but I haven't been asked my favorite song. I'll offer the one that just popped in my head. I don't know if it's my number one of all time, but it's definitely in the top 5 to 10. New Music from Ragtime is one of my favorite songs. Why? Aaron's and Flaherty just writes such amazing music. That original Broadway cast recording is so good. And the yearning in that song, like it's captured so beautifully. So I'll say that.
Is there a dream show or creative team that you'd love to collaborate with next?
Yeah, lots. I can't say that I went to high school with this person. I went to an all-girls school, and one of our brother schools, there was a kid named Will Arbery, human named Will Arbery, who is now an adult human, who wrote on Succession and is a playwright and is an incredible writer. And I want them to do a musical, and I don't know what yet. So I want that. I want to work with Barlow and Bear at some point, who did the Bridgerton musical. I want to work with Costin Mayer. I want to work with Sam Pinkleton. I want to work with, I feel like there's so many people. Yeah, I like have a ceaseless list of people I really admire that I'd like to work with. So it's a long list.
For everyone that is listening right now, where can we find you and that showbiz online?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at It's Katharine Quinn. And you can find And That's Showbiz on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at andthatsshow.biz.
Okay. I wanted to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
So glad that we were able to get together actually, and
yes, me too.
Well, with that being said, I am off, and I will see you Eternal Stars later. Bye, guys.